The day after the election is turning out to be a great day for Republicans, except in Minnesota. Nationally, Republicans won control of the U.S. Senate and boosted their majority in the U.S. House. For the first time since President Obama took office, he will face a Congress with Republicans in control of both houses. The president has invited congressional leaders to the White House on Friday to start talking about some of the challenges that lie ahead. Both sides are facing questions about whether they can end the gridlock.
So to everyone who voted, I want you to know that I hear you. To the 2/3 of voters who chose not to participate in the process yesterday, I hear you too.
American people have spoken. They've given us divided government. The question for both the president and for the speaker and myself and our members is, what are you going to do with it?
Here in Minnesota, not only did U.S. Senator Al Franken cruise to a big win over Mike McFadden, Governor Dayton won comfortably too. In the 7th and 8th congressional district, Republicans failed to beat Representatives Colin Peterson and Rick Nolan. Senator Amy Klobuchar put it this way.
We are getting some hard news across the country, but we are getting some great news in Minnesota.
The one bright spot for the Minnesota GOP, they won control of the Minnesota House. But Democrats won every statewide office, including Attorney General, State Auditor, and Secretary of State. So what happened? Esme Murphy has been looking into that. She joins us now. Hi, Esme.
Hey there. Well, Frank and Amelia, the Republican strategy was the same here as it was everywhere else in the country: to tie incumbent senators and members of Congress to an unpopular president, to hit Democratic governors hard on Obamacare, and to focus on a slow-growing economy. The day after cruising to a decisive win over businessman Mike McFadden, Senator Al Franken acknowledged he is going back to a very different Congress.
Believe me, there's going to be a lot of work across party lines. There's going to have to be.
The review of exit polls shows several key reasons why Democrats, including Franken, did better here.
Al Franken is hiding his 97% voting record with President Obama behind Ms.
Similar attacks worked in other states, but exit polls of voters yesterday found President Obama is more popular here.
They really weren't as down on President Obama as they were nationally here in Minnesota.
Republicans were also counting on an anti-Obamacare vote to bring down Governor Mark Dayton.
MNsure, which was a real albatross around Governor Dayton's neck, it didn't really play that well for Republicans. The exit polls showed that Minnesotans were basically split.
Exit polls also showed Minnesotans felt the economy was in good shape, another boost to incumbents who voters clearly felt deserved to keep their jobs.
You know, some Minnesotans didn't quite know what to think when I first got into the Senate, and I think that most of them saw that we worked very hard.
Now, there is one very big exception to a very bad night for Minnesota Republicans. They did win the Minnesota House, and that does show at the local level there are concerns about Democratic policies. But at a statewide level, the Republican strategy came up empty, Amelia.
And so what are Republicans saying about not being able to deliver here in Minnesota?
Well, I did talk with the GOP party chair, Keith Downey. He acknowledged some of the differences that these exit polls did turn up. But at the end of the day, he said it's about the money, that Senator Franken and Governor Dayton had more money to get their messages across.
A lot of it from outside the state, too, right? The money?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Esme. Coming up on our news at 6, Pat Kessler has more on how the Republican takeover of the Minnesota House will affect the agenda at the state capitol over the next 2 years.